Welcome to the Jaron Jarvis channel. I am Jaron Jarvis. Today, I would like to introduce to you, the day I met God. I'm not here to tell you to have faith. I'm not here to sell any religion to you. In fact, I despise religion for reasons I hope to make clear in this account. That felt like a necessary preface to this statement. God is real. Before you turn away like I'm some obnoxious pimpled Mormon kid or a Bible-thumping Jehovah's Witness banging at your door, please understand I'm trying to convey. God is real. That is not equivalent to saying God is good. I was 12 years old, and like the missionaries I just mentioned, an obnoxious Mormon kid minus the pimples. Don't worry, they came later. My parents were out for the day, as were all my siblings who still lived at home. The house was mine. To be an adolescent with complete run of the family territory is a heady, euphoric thing. As hormones dictated, this was the perfect opportunity to explore the urges that had been wrought upon me by puberty. The clashes and jingles of the dial-up connection usually brought a wince of annoyance. Today they made my heart thump. I was in the office. Basically just a guest room in our home that housed the computer and served as Dad's remote workplace when he needed it. I typed in playboy.com, as I had no idea that there were other salacious troves of wonder available. A Hawaiian girl, or at least a Hawaiian-looking girl on a Hawaiian-looking beach, brought me to the first climax I ever had. Once the euphoria and shock of this completely new experience wore off, I was hit by a wave of guilt. All that desire, that hunger, just moments ago the force that drove my every action, was sated. Now it was replaced by shame. Like I said, I was a Mormon kid. I was brought up to believe that pornography was filth and masturbation a sin. Sexual urges were only to be acted upon in the marriage bed. Never mind the fact that the founder of our religion had over 40 wives, the youngest of whom was 14 when they wed. Sorry, that's more of a retroactive response as I write this. At that time, the shame and guilt I felt were very real. I had committed a grievous sin. After washing up, I went to my bedroom and dropped to my knees. Eyes clenched shut and hands clasped together, I begged God to forgive me. I asked him for the strength to resist these horrible urges of the flesh. Clashes and jingles answered. The dial-up had been switched on in the room down the hall, with no one in the house to make the required action. I froze at first. Had I not been alone? Did my brother or sister come home early? Would they be able to find what I was looking at? Oh no, had Mom or Dad gotten back before expected? If they knew what I'd been up to it'd be 10 times worse. No, that couldn't be. I would have heard the garage dooring open, or at least the front door. I was sure no one could have entered the house without my noticing. How then was someone at the computer? In an odd fugue of guilt, disgust and nervousness, I investigated. The computer was indeed on, and connected to the internet. The monitor glowed with a page that I'd never seen before. Its header read "Speak to me" in that cheesy papyrus font that everyone seemed to love in the late 90s. Below it was an open chat field. One message, from a user named Yahweh, read: "Hi Jacob. I understand you wanted to have a chat with me." I trembled. Was this some kind of joke? My fervent prayers had been silent thoughts in my mind, nothing that could be heard by someone. Yet Yahweh seemed aware of what was going on. I considered the possibility that I'd somehow been hacked. You have to understand, in addition to my naive age, the era we're talking about is one in which the internet was essentially viewed as magic. Hollywood had convinced us that geniuses with hair gelled into spikes and yellow-tinted glasses were hammering away at keyboards and somehow able to control traffic, the stock market, cell phones, everything. Essentially, we thought they could do anything. Shaking, I sat at the desk chair and replied. Though I'd never been to this site, it seemed to have my AOL info as my reply was prefaced with the username /3692. My name isn't Jacob. You got the wrong guy. It was a fool's hope that the person on the other end would believe the lie. Then again, it wasn't really a lie as I'd only ever been called Jake unless my mom was cross with me. Yahweh replied. No Jake, you're the right guy. I'm positive. Smile. I shivered. Could have been a coincidence that my thoughts concerned my nickname. Jake is a standard leap from Jacob. This guy was probably just using it to be friendly, familiar. We'd been warned about talking to strangers on the internet by a nice police officer who came to our class. He'd told us that bad people would act nice online to get us to trust them, but then use the trust to do bad things. I replied, "What do you want?" Yahweh took about 30 seconds to reply. "Yahweh, I want to save you." Flash 3692, from what? Yahweh, from sin. Flash 3692, this isn't funny, man. Leave me alone. Yahweh, if you wanted to be left alone, why did you ask for my help? This left me thoroughly unsettled. Yes, even at the age of 12, I knew that the word Yahweh was synonymous with God. Up until this point in the conversation, I'd assumed there was some kind of absurd, technological fuckery to explain it all. Not anymore. Flash 3692, you heard me? Yahweh, I hear everyone. Flash 3692, what did you hear? Yahweh, that you don't want to touch yourself and you need help to make the bad thoughts in your head go away. That about sum it up? I trembled as I read the reply. It was too close, too damn accurate to be nudged off as a lucky guess. Flash 3692, okay, so will you save me? Yahweh, if you earn it. Flash 3692, how do I earn it? A sudden ding from my computer startled me more than I'd like to admit. A notification appeared in the chat window. Scratch has joined the conversation. Scratch, don't listen to him, kid. He's an uptight asshole with control issues. When he says save he just means I win. Jerk off all you want, it's not hurting anyone. Yahweh, I don't remember inviting you to this conversation, Scratch. Scratch, one of my guys tipped me off, so I came to take a look. You know you're flirting with the word cheater here, don't you? Flash 3692, what the hell are you talking about? Who are you people? My jaw was clenched. They seemed to know things that I'd meant to keep secret. And their names, Yahweh was easy. Scratch I'd heard before in folktales. It was a name used for. Scratch, you know who I am, kid. And despite the propaganda this other one has been pumping out, I'm not such a bad guy. Yahweh, you're behind all evil in the world, own up to it. Scratch, oh am I? Let's see, Flash, what did you do that made you feel like you needed to reach out to this asshole? I spent several moments in stunned silence. This had to be some kind of prank. After all, I hadn't seen any divine light or noxious hellfire. I'd just seen an internet chat. One person was playing the role of God, the other the devil. Or maybe it was one person playing both parts. I didn't know. However, instead of closing the window, I obeyed an inexplicable instinct. I replied. Flash 3692, I looked at pornography and. Flash 3692, touched myself. Scratch, oh for fuck's sake. That's nothing. Listen up kid, your friends do it, your older brothers do it, your sister does it, your mom does it, and your dad does it with Sally from corporate and Bert from operations. Apparently your old man likes to watch. My previously tight jaw slackened. I'd met Sally and Bert. They'd both been to our house for dinner. Sally was energetic and flirtatious, even giving me a kiss on the cheek and remarking on what a handsome young man I was. Bert was reserved. He was always polite, but seemed buttoned down to the point of being timid. The thought of him and Sally, and my dad. Yahweh, he's the father of lies, Jake, don't listen to him. Scratch, you know I'm getting real sick of you calling me that. You made the rules, yet you don't play by them. Yahweh, horseshit. How have I not played by the rules? Scratch, I don't know, maybe commanding your creations to do the exact opposite of what you designed them to do? At this point I was thoroughly confused. Flash 3692, what are you guys talking about? Scratch, sorry, Jake got a little sidetracked there. You know how Yahweh is a bit of a bitch and calls me the father of lies? Well, the only way to define a lie is to prove it contradicts the truth. You following me? Flash 3692, I guess so. Scratch, good. So tell me if this statement is true or false. I am a liar. Yahweh, that cliché is low even for you, Scratch. While it may have been a cliché to the supposedly immortal beings I was speaking with, this logic puzzle was new to me. Flash 3692, true. Scratch, and how did you reach that conclusion? Yahweh, I can only roll me eyes so hard, you too. Flash 3692, if you're not a liar, saying you're one means you've told a lie. If you are a liar, you're telling the truth when you say you're one. Either way, you're a liar. Yahweh, oh spare me. Scratch, well done, Jake. Now, I want you to take that same simple concept and apply it to everything you've heard about Yahweh and me. Yahweh, direct manipulation is against the rules, Dick. Scratch, oh I'm sorry, should I consult every written account of your involvement in people's lives for a course? That's a hell of a lot of reading to get through. It felt as though I'd intruded on some flippant argument between old friends. However this started, it was no longer about me. Flash 3692, I'm leaving, you guys are weird. I didn't actually click out of the chat window. Instead I awaited a response. After a couple of minutes, this popped up. Scratch, I'm doubling down on you, Jake. Yahweh needs to get taken down a peg and I think you may just be the card to do it. That's when I closed the chat window. Furthermore, I shut off the computer and unplugged it. I ran to my bedroom. Before, my instinct would have been to pray. But who would I be praying to? In the years since, I've distanced myself from religious beliefs. I'm much more comfortable with the idea that what awaits us after death is empty silence. Heaven and hell seem like childish concepts. Bliss and suffering lose their meaning if they are infinite. Re-examining that strange day as an adult, I'm not sure how to explain it. It was most likely some kind of prank. The personal details I'd latched onto as evidence of legitimacy could easily have been my own projections. A kid, working out his guilt over the taboo exploration of sexuality, might not be a reliable narrator. I prefer that version to the alternative. The more I've reflected on that possibility, the more disturbing I find it. Let's say the two individuals I interacted with were actually God and Satan. They spoke of rules, and cheating. I was referred to as a card. This leads me to the conclusion that, if they are real, the pair are not adversaries. They are gamblers. God placed his bet on one outcome, the devil on the other. We are just the chips they push on a lark that means as little to them as a friendly game of poker does to us. God doesn't love us. He just bet on us. And considering that I just received this text from an unknown number. Page flash 3692, been a long time. Just found out you're gonna come stay with me for a while. I'm thrilled. See you soon. Scratch, I think God's losing.